Hi, I'm Rob,
And I'm John.
and we're here to talk about our stat project.
Now, in the world of cylinders, the old expression is there's no replacement for displacement. And that is generally thought to be true. And what we'd like to test out in this project is if there truly is no replacement for displacement. So you might be wondering, after what you've heard, what all this mumbo jumbo means with displacement and forced induction and whatnot. So we're going to clear some of that up for you.
So Rob's car is a naturally aspirated car, which means the air comes in through the grill. Some of it goes to the radiator, which helps cool the engine. But then air also goes to this air box, which filters out dirt and other stuff that you don't want to get in the engine. Travels up through here and into each of the 8 chambers. Unlike Jack's car, there's such things as turbocharged and supercharged vehicles, which have a turbo or supercharger here, which sucks more air in and causes more pressure, so there's more horsepower output from a smaller cylinder displacement.
Now what we're looking at here is a 5.3 liter V8, which you can tell by the 4 exhaust headers on either side of the engine block, marking 8 cylinders. Now what a 5.3 liter V8 means, displacement wise, is that all 8 cylinders combined displace a total of 5.3 liters of fluid. Now generally, the more displacement you have, the more power your engine's going to be able to make as it burns more fuel and more air. But what we'd like to test out is if this is true.
Our research question was, in the world of cars, the saying there's no replacement for displacement refers to the age-old assumption that bigger engines make more power. What we want to know is if the old motto rings true, and is engine displacement in liters an accurate predictor for engine output in horsepower?
Our project goal is to determine if engine cylinder displacement is a good predictor for horsepower output from both naturally aspirated and forced induction vehicles.
Our observational units for the study were naturally aspirated and forced induction gasoline vehicles made no later than 2016. Our explanatory variable was total cylinder displacement in liters, and our response variable was factory horsepower.
For our design of study, we obtained engine specifications on 30 different vehicles which vary in both engine size and intake system, with naturally aspirated and forced induction. To ensure that a representative sample of vehicles was taken from the many available to consumers today, we compiled a list of 30 total production vehicles from carandriver.com with their engine size, horsepower rating, and vehicle force induction system listed.
As for the population we can generalize to, the data should be applicable to the current American vehicle market, as we have a representative sample of many of the different vehicles available today. Even though many of the models sampled may have had a few modifications in the past few years, and some engines included have been relatively unchanged for decades, we can safely apply the data to most recent model year 2017, as all of our sample vehicles are 2017 models. As you can see by our least squares regression line, the equation is horsepower hat equals 53.4029 plus 86.3556 times x, which is liters. This means that for every additional liter, you multiply that times 86.3556 and then add the y-intercept of 53.4029.
By looking at our graph, you can see that the data is generally grouped around the least squares regression line, with slightly more variability as the liters of displacement increase. This is likely due to the fact that as engines increase in size, the difference between horsepower output between naturally aspirated and forced induction engines increases. And also, these large displacement engines, usually used for powerful trucks or high-performance sports cars, vary significantly as they're tuned differently for what they would normally be used for.
Our correlation coefficient is R equals 0.779921, which means the strength of the relationship between the engine displacement and horsepower is strong, positive, and linear.
The value of our coefficient of determination is R squared equals 0.608277, which means that about 39% of our variability in an engine displacement can be explained by the linear relationship of horsepower with engine displacement in liters. Using the Rossmann-Chance applet, we found our p-hat to be 0.2817, and when put with our data, we obtained a p-value of 0.072.
With an alpha level of 5%, we don't have significant evidence, as our data is over 7%. This is likely because our sample size wasn't large enough